guys, welcome back to another episode of Author Interviews with Jazz Prose. I'm your host, Sai. Today we are here with the lovely Danela Butler for her book, The Pearl, Unveiling the Strength Within. How are you doing today, Danela?
I'm doing just fine. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I'm glad that you could stop by to share with us about this book. And first of all, it's a beautiful, y'all know me, y'all know I love covers. Okay. I have to start with covers. So go ahead and tell us a little bit how you came up with the cover for The Pearl.
Okay. So being my first book, I wanted something that, gives that, subtle yet powerful image. And so a friend of mine, actually, who's an author herself, she kind of introduced me to Fiverr, but the person who originally did it is like, okay, I'm trying to explain it to how I wanted it to look like. And so I trusted him, but at the same time, I'm just like, I'll know it's the one when I see it, And so they were giving me a lot of just draft after draft after draft. I'm like, no, he's not getting it artistically. So I had to go back to my friend and be like, it's a certain look. I can't put my finger on it, but, I wanted to give, emphasis on the pearl, not necessarily to where it's, because he was giving me like beach, he was giving me oysters and everything. I'm like, this is not a romantic novel. I don't want it to give that impression. So I wanted to say, poetry, I wanted to say empowerment. I wanted it to speak before you actually open. And so she gave me, this idea, and automatically I'm like, that's it. That's the one. I knew, the only thing I knew is like, I do want a crack in the middle of the pearl. That I do know for sure. But when you look at the cover itself, it just gives just emphasis on the pearl, just like as you showing like a spotlight, because it kind of gives you an idea of what's to come once you open the book.
Absolutely. I had to unmute because I wanted to hear. Now, yes, that's why when I zoomed in, I was like, wait, there's a crack in the pearl. And I love the cleverness of that and just all of that. And yes, I can attest to when okay, when it comes to covers, when it comes to shopping, I'm a shopper, like thrifting. And it's just like, yes, when you see it, it's just like, oh my God. And I will say, I talk a lot about AI on here in technology because for one, I'm getting my grad degree in technology as a technology leader in schools. So I love tech and AI. With writing, I don't agree, like, writing your books using AI. But when it comes to trying to clearly get a visual of what you have in your mind, like because I know of Fiverr as well. So I know like the process of working with another person that's probably in a different country and they're probably translating stuff too.
Right.
It can be hard to articulate what you're seeing in your mind because sometimes it can be abstract. So, but I do love ChatGPT for that. I'm not gonna lie. I love putting in like, oh, I want y'all to have this scene, and I want it creating a picture. I love that. And when they get it right, it's nothing like that feeling. So I love that. But this is an absolutely beautiful cover. And do you think, Danela, that people judge the books by their cover?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, even before, even with people, it's just your first impression is huge with others, So it's always based upon the perspective of just somebody, what they have in their mind. It's like, okay, I see it this way, so this is what it's going to be about. It's not until you open the book is when you open up to a different perspective. So yeah,
absolutely. You clocked it a lot on there. You hit the nail on the head. Because I was in HR before I was a teacher. And people were coming in for interviews, and it was just like I would have to pull them aside. Like next time, like you could be the greatest on paper, but you're representing this company, so you have to pull that together. But yes, people do. Some people buy books literally because it's going to look pretty on their shelves. So I mean, And I'm not saying that it's all about the cover, but I will say it's a huge, for me, I just feel like it's a huge part of making sure that your cover looks presentable. That's a beautiful example right there, the pearl. That's amazing. So,
So,
Danela, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became a writer.
so again, my name's Danela Butler. I'm originally from Seattle, Washington. So I came down to Atlanta, I want to say about 5 years ago this month. And so honestly, I've been writing since I was 9. Like, poetry has been another artistic outlet for me, to where keep in mind, I was a shy girl. And so poetry was an opportunity to speak on things that I felt like I couldn't really speak on, because I felt like I didn't have much of a voice, or I just didn't know how to articulate certain things. And so poetry was a way to kind of help, give that voice to me in a creative way. And then I would say, kind of background story of how poetry got started is, it was supposed to be a secret hobby, but in my 9-year-old mind, I'm just like, I have a notebook. So I just typed it on my grandma's computer. And so one day my grandma found the poem on her computer, read it and loved it. And then, next thing you know, she and my parents had started buying me notebooks, saying, this girl's going to be a writer. This girl's going to be a poet. So it was just all up from there.
I love that. And I'm conflicted with because I've had that experience of, like how you said, it was supposed to be a secret and then somebody found it. Oh my God, that's happened to me like so many times. And I'm like, guys, this is why they used to sell those journals with the locks and the keys and stuff like that. I'm like, oh my God, and now me as a mother, I make sure to respect my kids' space. Now, like I said, I'm conflicted because, your grandmother found it, so that helped to motivate you to become a writer and, pour into you, speaking that life into you. But at the same time, like some stuff, I'm like, oh my God, this was supposed to be for me. You were supposed to do that. So yeah, I love that. But that is so important that you had a supportive family that recognized that, that talent in you to speak that life into you. I had an aunt that was like that, and my family was like that too. Like, oh my God, you're always writing. I always had a notebook and a pen. So I think that's amazing that you actually acted on that talent, because so many people are sitting on their talent and they don't do anything with it. And I think now in today's time with social media and just technology, seeing other people go after their dreams, it's helping other people to say, you know what, I can do that. I should do that. I have so many notebooks filled with stuff that I could, put my stuff out there. So I love that for us as people now. So tell us about The Pearl. What is this book about?
So The Pearl is a compilation of poems that I've written over the years. I put them together based upon just what my idea of, what a pearl is and the process of what it goes through. And the idea came from actually a sermon by my uncle, who unfortunately passed away. But he was a preacher in Reno, Nevada. And he preached on the parable of the pearl. And he talked about how a pearl is so valuable, it's so rare. Like, if you go through different oysters, you rarely find like a pearl in there unless it's, a parasite enters into an oyster and it gets rubbed the wrong way and it starts to form, what we know as a pearl. And so that sermon touched me so much, because around that time I was in the senior high school. So it was just like a lot was going on at that time. Just everything that could go wrong went wrong.
Yeah.
And so that sermon to this day stayed with me, because he talked about how a pearl is so bought at a great price and what makes it so rare and so valuable is what it has gone through. And how it's been rubbed the wrong way, how it's been bruised and broken, and then finally polished into becoming what it currently is.
I love that. That's amazing. Oh, I thought there was. See, it's Sunday. I thought I was in church now. I was like, okay, keep going. And that is, I love that so much. And it makes me want to. So that's how you were inspired, and you came up with it. What can readers expect when they get this book? What can they expect when they open the pages? And then I'll ask another question after you answer that question.
Okay. They can expect, just me. I used my own life experiences in the book. So what I hope the readers take with them is that it's like a mirror. That's the point of art. Art is supposed to be like a reflection of real life. And so I'm using my own, testimony, my own background to just let the reader know that I've been through this too, or I was empowered through this. I was inspired by this, God did this for me, so that's something I, would want the reader to see, is just little bits and pieces of encouragement and empowerment, in the book.
Yeah. And they need that. People need that. We need that. Absolutely. To see that we're all human. We all go through things, and here, look, this is how I got through it, and you can too. Exactly. I think that is so important. Yeah, absolutely. Do you have and I have to, when I stop and think about these questions, guys, I'm thinking about how to ask it in a very, the correct way, because the last interview, I almost made the man cry. I didn't mean to. I was just asking this question.
Don't give it to me straight. Don't give it to me straight.
So it's really not. So when you were writing the book, and especially I feel like with poetry, you guys are writing from a very vulnerable place, emotional place, depending on, I guess, what the topic is about, what you're writing about. But usually poets are very you guys are really in your feelings, I would say, when you're putting stuff out. So when you were in the Pearl, when you were writing it, did you have a part where you was like, oh my God, this is hard to write? You got through it. Now, when I say hard, it could be either strategically putting it together to make it clever or whatever, where you really was like, I really want to use different types of literary devices, or emotionally hard, where it was like, it was tough for you to put this from, on pen to paper. Did you have a part in the book anywhere where you was like, this is tough, but I got through it?
So interestingly enough, because like I said, poetry was part of like helping me cope with being shy and saying things I wanted to say. I think putting it together and rereading like my original manuscript did make me feel away, only because this was written, a lot of the poems were written at a time in my life where I was in a dark place. Yeah. And so I'm being honest, I almost threw my manuscript away. Yeah. I was going to destroy it because I said that nobody's going to want to read this. It's too dark, even for me. And I wrote it. So I, because when I first reread it, I'm like, I felt heavy. I'm just like, dang, I really went through XYZ. It's like, I want to inspire people. I don't want people to feel drained or heavy when they read it. So that, I would say, if anything, putting it together did bring up a lot of emotions in that sense.
Yeah. And I think, when we talk about emotional intelligence, and I'm very cognizant of this as a teacher. I teach 8th grade, and I feel like that's such a time where, they're not necessarily like, high school yet, but they're not babies yet, but they're getting ready to go to high school. So I talk a lot about emotional intelligence because you're about to enter high school, which I feel like you said, you were a senior. And when you said you were a senior, what are you talking about when you wrote the book? I remember you saying you were a senior. What was that part?
So senior in high school.
A senior in high school, yes. Okay. Yeah. And I just feel like it's a new world. Like going from middle school to high school is a lot. And emotional intelligence is something that people need to know. But a lot of the times, we tell people, oh, focus on the happy, the positive, but we don't really necessarily all the time focus on navigating through the dark emotions and what that looks like, and how to come out of that. But it is a part of life. Okay. And if you don't really model for them, for kids, even for adults that have never learned that, letting people know it's normal. You
Right.
know, being sad is normal, feeling jealous is normal, feeling angry, those are all emotions. And I feel like people do need to understand that, when you said you almost threw your manuscript away, I'm glad you did not, because it's a testament to being human, and
Mhm.
seeing that, hey, somebody might pick up the book and read it and say, oh, well, this person went through it and look at them now, So I love that you were vulnerable enough to share that experience and you did not throw your manuscript away, because I am a Christian. I believe in God. And I do think that God, we go through things, and what I've learned, I'm starting to sound like Oprah. What I've learned is that, you have to build up the mindset and the mental strength to know that you're going to have ups and downs. And it's about
Mhm.
focusing on when you're about to get back up. So I love that you were vulnerable enough to put this in the book and publish it to the
Mhm.
world. Okay. With permission, people not just going through your, I'm putting this out. So what about a favorite part? Do you have a page or a poem or a stanza where you was like, oh my God, I really love this part of the book?
That's like asking, do you have a favorite child?
I know. You're supposed to say all of them. I know.
Uh-huh. Um,
No. Well, maybe writing it. I don't know.
uh-huh. Let's see.
You can plead the fifth. It's fine.
I'll say chapter, because I broke it up into 4 different chapters. There's the
Okay.
breaking, molding, shaping, and polishing. So I would say shaping is the part where I think I felt the most connected to, because those were the moments where I really felt stretched by God, and just through the circumstances I was going through in life. I think those were the most powerful poems that I've written.
Okay. I love that. I love that. Um, when it comes to your publishing journey, what does your writing process look like, as far as you have the idea in your head and then you're about to sit down and you're about to write? Because I know we have people who write in their phones,
Mhm.
computers, their notebooks. So
Mhm.
what does your writing process look like?
Well, you know what? It varies, because there
Yeah.
are times where, like, poetry will just happen on the spot,
Mhm.
and it's, if it's in my head, I'm like, okay, I got to write that down because I'll lose it. I used to carry around my notebook around me like a Bible, and because I would always be writing. And now, if I ever have an idea, I just take my phone and just, dial that idea. I'm like, it
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily have to be a full poem. It could be like a line. It could be a title. It could be something. But my mind is always turning, and just sometimes it comes at random times. So I just take those devices and just, okay, I don't know when I'm going to use this, but I know I'm going to use it for something. So
Yeah.
that's typically how the process is. A lot of times it's random now.
Yeah, yeah, I love that we have options, okay, of what we want to do. Yeah, I usually use my Google Docs. It's
Mhm.
hard for me. I'm trying to do the phones. I can take notes in my phones, but I can't like write out like a scene. It's just for me. I'm weird like
Mhm.
that. Notebooks, yes, for
Yeah.
notes, but typically I'm using my laptop. But I do love. I always talk about this, is the voice typing tool.
Mhm.
It's like in Google Docs, there's the tools, and then you go to voice typing. You can just talk, and the computer will type it for you.
Oh, yeah.
I use that for my papers with grad school. Oh my God, because I'm like, oh my God, I could talk, but typing sometimes I'm just tired. But I'll digress with that. When it comes to advice for authors, and I'm gonna ask you the same question that I asked the other poet that we just interviewed. When it comes to a person who may have notebooks full of poems, okay, but they're struggling with the idea that, oh my God, other people are gonna read my poems.
Mhm.
Um, what advice would you give to them? They want to publish, but they're scared of what other people might think about their poem.
God gave it to you for a reason. They didn't use they they're not meant to sit on it, you know. And the thing about it is that if you don't do it, somebody else will do it for you. And so what I like to tell people is that you turn that fear into adrenaline and just go for it, because you honestly never know the outcome of it. Because you don't necessarily fail when you do something and it doesn't go the way you want it to. You fail when you don't do it, period. So I would say just really just leap, because I'm a firm believer that, you know, person who sits on their gifts, you're in danger of losing your gift.
Mm.
So I would say just, you know, go for it, because somebody out there needs your story. Somebody out there needs your words. Somebody out there needs your art and your talent and your gifts.
Absolutely. You know, we can mic drop on that. If I had a mic, I would drop it, because that was amazing. I love all of that, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We are now, I believe, about to go into our trivia time.
All right.
Okay, there we go. I'm like, okay, so this is author edition for Would You Rather. Okay. So
All
we're
right.
going to pick a number from 1 to 4.
Okay. Let's do 3.
Okay, let's go ahead and see what 3 is. I think I know what this question is. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, would you rather only write at 3 a.m. or only write with a typewriter?
Mm-hmm.
Tough choices.
I wouldn't mind a typewriter. I'm not gonna hold you. Like, I can't focus at 3 a.m. Like, I'm gonna be half asleep. So my mind and my ideas are not gonna be gonna be out there. So I'd say a typewriter. And I'm honestly fascinated by the typewriter, to be honest with you.
Yes. Okay, so I think we're at like maybe 3 to 4 people who chose out of like 30 interviews that I've done that say the typewriter. But I you know, typewriters for me are nostalgic. But you know, people are like, oh, that's, you got to roll the paper, do the thing. It's the whole process. But they're cute. They're cute.
When you in it, when you in
it. Yeah. So, what is next for you? What do you have next in store for us?
So I have about 7 more projects that I have planned out. The next one, it was crazy, is that I do believe this is a God-given, because he told me what my next book was going to be. Like, I got the cover of what it's going to be, what it's going to look like, and what the message is going to be. So I'm not going to reveal too much about it, because I want people to stay tuned. But I think I might gear towards mental health next, and just do like a book of poetry based on that. But just stay tuned for that, because that's next.
I love that. I love that so much. And like you see, how you say you had 7, I'm like, okay, good. I'm not the only person that has like 25 projects in the works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
oh yeah.
I love that. So The Pearl, tell people where they can find the book.
So you can find The Pearl on Amazon.com, or you can go to DanelaButler.com and you just, you know, type in DanelaButler.com, and you can purchase an ebook. You can purchase, you know, hard copy, and we'll get that on out to you.
We love that so much, guys. Definitely you want to check out The Pearl. Okay. It sounds like it's a book. I'm gonna have to buy a couple of copies. Is it, now I want to ask this question. Is it is there age appropriate range, or is it like,
I would say, you know, young adults as young as teens on up.
Okay.
So I believe it's open to just, you know, teens to 99.
Yeah. So we got a cap 99. Oh my God, Danela, we thank you so much for stopping by, for sharing The Pearl with us. You're welcome back anytime. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing. Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, we thank you for tuning in to this episode of Author Interviews with Jazz Prose, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Thank you.